Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. It's the wildest ride in the wilderness, a high-speed runaway train through the desert. But did you know that before this mountain ever existed, this patch of Frontierland was home to one of Walt Disney's most ambitious, slowest, and strangest projects ever? We're talking about singing coyotes, balancing rocks, and real live temperamental mules. This is the Imagination Files. To learn about Big Thunder Mountain Road, we have to go all the way back to the beginning, Disneyland's opening day on July 17, 1955. If you were to visit Frontierland on this day, you'd find 5 attractions operating in this area: the Mark Twain Riverboat, the Golden Horseshoe Review, the Stagecoaches, the Constanoga Wagons, and the Pack Mule Train. The Pack Mule Train is the original attraction that was on the land currently occupied by where Thunder Mountain is now. What did you do at this attraction? Well, guests would ride atop 9 live and often very temperamental mules behind a lead horse ridden by a cast member. We all know Walt was a stickler for details, and he reportedly insisted on having live, slow-moving animals in Frontierland to create an authentic atmosphere and make it feel alive. Disney had collected a herd of 50 to 75 mules to operate this attraction. Riding your mule behind the lead horse, you'd take a scenic tour of dusty western trails. While this iteration of the attraction was low-tech and would continue even with power outages, it was often unpredictable due to the stubbornness of the mules, as they would often nip at guest shoes and stop out of nowhere. This was an e-ticket attraction and quickly became a guest favorite. It had a few quirks though. Due to using live animals, there was a 195-pound weight limit, and Disney installed scales outside the ride that guests had to weigh in on before riding the attraction. This caused many guests to skip the ride rather than being weighed in front of everyone. After only a year of operating, the Pack Mule Train would gain an expansion and change its name to Rainbow Ridge Pack Mules in 1956. The addition of an old and detailed mining town called Rainbow Ridge led to the change in the name, and the attraction was also rehabilitated during this expansion. It was also during this year that another attraction was added to the area called Rainbow Caverns Mine Train. This attraction was a leisurely train ride through Rainbow Desert that ended with guests viewing a vibrant glowing pools and waterfalls illuminated by blacklight called the Rainbow Caverns. When Walt consulted scientists and engineers about how to make the waterfalls different colors, they initially told him it was impossible, as they believed the different color dyes in the water would mix together and create a muddy brown color. Imagineer Claude Coates saved the day by designing separate basins and precisely timed water flows to keep the 22 vibrant geysers and falls distinct colors for many years. Walt also wanted to use live steam locomotives for the attraction like he had for the main Disneyland Railroad, but was blocked by Orange County officials due to the fact that he had already had 3 unlicensed steam engines at Disneyland, which were the 2 main trains on the main Disneyland Railroad and the Mark Twain Riverboat. Since he was denied the use of live steam locomotives, his workaround was to use battery-powered electric motors that were hidden inside a dummy steam locomotive shell. Both the Rainbow Ridge Pack Mules and the Rainbow Caverns Mine Train stayed pretty much the same until 1959, when both would receive an expansion that same year. This was part of a massive $2 million expansion of Frontierland. While the attractions were separate before, they now shared some of the same scenery. As you can see here, the tracks for the Mine Train through Nature's Wonderland followed along the path for the Pack Mules through Nature's Wonderland. While both attractions still loaded in the town of Rainbow Ridge, and the idea of riding a pack mule or a leisurely ride in a train stayed the same, the environment you traversed changed dramatically. Inspired by Walt Disney's True Life Adventure film series, the ride grounds were expanded into a 7-acre wilderness. Another big change was there was an addition of 204 animated animals, including bears, elks, and beavers, to the previously quiet wilderness. It's reported that these new animated animals were so realistic that local wildlife was often fooled. Real blackbirds were known to attack the fake ravens, and a mother hawk was seen trying to feed the animatronic hawk chicks. It was also during this expansion that new geographic zones were added, including the Living Desert, Bear Country, Olympic Elk Forest, and a 75-foot tall 3D mountain structure located between Beaver Valley and Bear Country called Cascade Peak. This was a major wet and scenic highlight of the attraction. The Mine Train also had some additional changes, including the addition of a narrated journey voiced by Dallas McKennon, who also voiced the wildest ride in the wilderness safety spiel for Big Thunder. The train cars were repainted from a dark green to a bright yellow. The train tracks expanded significantly to cover a much larger area of Frontierland, and Walt asked Imagineer Mark Davis to inject more humor into the attraction. This injection of humor led to comical scenes of scratching bears and the bouncing rocks that rocked as though they were about to fall onto the train that was triggered by a sound-actuated switch connected to the train's whistle. The addition of Old Unfaithful, which was a geyser that shot 75 feet into the air, and bubbling multicolored mud pits called Devil's Paint Pots were also very popular. A lesser-known fact is Mine Train Through Nature's Wonderland spawned one of the oldest unsanctioned employee groups at Disneyland called the Order of the Red Handkerchief. Founded in 1964, it was a fraternity for those who had mastered the mine train rotation and was considered exclusive. Both the mine train and pack mules would close in early 1977 to make way for another frontier change and new thrill ride, Thunder Mountain Railroad. It took 2 years from the closure of the previous attractions to when Big Thunder would open on September 2, 1979. Originally conceived by Imagineer Tony Baxter as part of a pavilion for Magic Kingdom in Florida, the project was deemed too expensive and the idea was trashed, except for the concept of the runaway mine train portion as a standalone attraction. The backstory of the ride focuses on Big Thunder Mountain Mining Company that was founded in the 1850s when gold was discovered. Legend depicts the mountain being cursed by supernatural force leading to natural disasters like cave-ins and earthquakes that led to the miners fleeing. Today, us guests board the seemingly possessed trains and race around the abandoned mine shafts. The visual inspiration for Big Thunder Mountain came from the rock spires at Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah, and he designed the mountain to look like the tracks were built around the existing rock formations rather than sculpting the rocks to fit the already laid track. This was also the first ride to use computer-aided design, CAD, which allowed for the creation of smoother and more complex track layouts than earlier still roller coasters. Today, you can still find tributes to Big Thunder Mountain's predecessors. The Rainbow Ridge town you see on the current ride is the original from both the mine train and pack mills. They just moved its location. While not the original, the glowing pools of water and illuminated stalactites you see during the first lift hill are a direct tribute to the Rainbow Caverns from the original. You can still see some of the old boarded up tunnels the mine train used to run through, and if you're lucky, you may see some of the old animatronics like swimming fish near one of them. Some of the animatronics you see, like the bobcat and mountain sheep, were originally created for Nature's Wonderland and repurposed for Big Thunder. Lastly, the T-Rex section you see in the final climax of the ride was originally in the Living Desert section of the rides. Today, Big Thunder Mountain is one of the most loved and highest rated attractions at Disneyland. It consistently ranks in the top 5 of all Disney park rides according to audience polls and maintains a strong 4.8 out of 5 rating based on guest reviews. Its balance of thrill and accessibility make it fun for the whole family, just as its predecessors had before it. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, please be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and comment on something you'd like to see me cover in the future.